DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
And hello and welcome to another edition of DETV Sports. We are back on another beautiful evening here on area in Wilmington on a Monday. Nick Allison-Drudy, Matthew Maurer, as always. Dennis, he is back behind the glass, ready for a fantastic show. So we're going to dive right in. Some things we're going to talk about here on today's program. Training camp updates live from the NFL. We are still in the midst of training camp as we get closer and closer to the NFL season, which is just around the corner. And of course, the Eagles begin their preseason action here in just a few days. On Thursday night, they'll take on the Cincinnati Bengals at the Lincoln Financial Field. So that'll be something to look forward to here this week. The Phillies, they are out of the All-Star break as they are back, and their quest for a World Series continues. We're going to talk about their odds, what they did or did not do at the trade deadline, that coming up. And then also we're going to get and continue our fantasy football series with our top 25 running backs for 2025. We did our top 25 wide receivers last Monday. We'll do our running backs today. Next week, we'll do our quarterbacks and tight ends, and then we'll get into our overall kind of landscape of the fantasy football field, and then our 12-team PPR mock draft as we get closer to draft time and closer to the start of the regular season. So a nice show planned today. Matthew, how you feeling back on a Monday? What'd you do this weekend?
Feeling good, man. Just watched a couple games, played a couple games, Just got Delaware, in the ACC, so,
ACC, there we go. We were talking, that's what you were trying to do, right? These last couple of weeks.
That's what I'm trying to do, yeah.
There you go, the Atlantic Coast Conference getting the welcome.
But the Atlantic Coast Conference is like it's going to die. So.
Win it while you can.
That's
man.
right, that's right.
That's right, and of course, speaking of college football, the Delaware Blue Hens, Delaware and Delaware State now just a little over 3 weeks away from kicking off the college football season. Of course, Delaware State, a new journey with their new head coach, Deshaun Jackson, and then Delaware, a new chapter for them as well, as they are now into the FBS, the premier division of college football. So both of those teams will meet week 1, August 29th. It's a Thursday, and that'll be right here in the First State. So something to look forward to for both of our big schools here in Delaware. So Matthew, let's dive right in here and talk a little bit about NFL training camp, or do you want to start with the Phillies here?
Start with the Phillies,
Let's do it, yeah. Let's start with the Phillies. They are back in action live right now against the Orioles, coming out of the All-Star break, a few weeks ago, and they made a few moves at the deadline. They were able to acquire the outfielder from the Twins, Harrison Bader, which is an okay move there, but the big one was also getting the closer from the Minnesota Twins, Yohan Duran, who has been fantastic this year. I mean, he throws gas. He's got a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. He did that last night. Another quick ninth inning, 2 for 2 in his save opportunities so far since being a part of the team. So that's kind of been the big thing for the Phillies here the last few years is the bullpen arms, right? They haven't had enough of them, a closer especially, and Dave Dombrowski at the deadline or even in the offseason hasn't really addressed that the last few years. Well, he finally did it this year. So they give up the prospect, they give up Mick Abel as well as the catcher, and now they get Duran, who 2 for 2 in his save attempts. He's been fantastic so far. It was an arm they needed for the past few years. It's an arm they need for the playoffs. But the question, Matthew, is will it be enough? So the bullpen's still a little bit thin. Obviously, Duran's a closer. You're not going to see him in any other high-leverage situations. He is your ninth inning closer, at least as it stands right now. That's the kind of player that he is. So you're, again, not as much depth there in the back end of that bullpen. Also, the outfield scares me a little bit. I was hoping they could get a better at-bat maybe than Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader fan, of course, but again, more of an average to mediocre player there in the outfield. But so they pick up a little bit of a bat there, but I would like to have seen them do more with the outfield and bring somebody else there in. But I can't complain with the last few trade deadlines that we've had. We haven't really done anything. So we got Duran. I'm happy with that. Would have liked to get another bat. But again, at least we've got a high-profile player this year at the deadline. So right now coming in, Matthew, the Phillies are second in the MLB in odds to win the World Series at plus 800. The Dodgers are about plus 400, so they're the number 1 team as they've been all season long. But how about that? The Phillies up at the number 2 spot in Vegas. They must like what they did at least a little bit there. What is your outlook on the Phils going forward as we stand now in early August?
I mean, honestly, we haven't had a closer with this type of ability since maybe Wild Thing, Mitch Williams.
Williams, there you go.
It's funny because I had a friend that went to the game, watched it. He said, this guy better be good because the whole entrance.
My dad said the same thing.
Yeah.
If you have that entrance, you better not give up a hit when you come in.
That's
the
right.
game.
And look, I give him credit. I mean, he throws gas, man. And
103 last night.
Yeah, and it was pretty impressive. I mean, it was so fast that when the catcher caught it, you kind of thought for a second maybe the hitter hit it because it makes contact every time he throws. So, like, again, shout out to the Phillies for putting in that type of power in the end of the pitching rotation. That's certainly a guy that I know opposing teams are going to be like, oh, Lord. Like, this is – because, I mean – and, I've had friends that say, like, well, Minnesota – I mean, he has really didn't done anything. He only had 27 saves is the most saves he's had. And, like, it's Minnesota, though.
Yeah, exactly. How many opportunities do you get?
Yeah. You're not going to get a ton of opportunities to make impactful saves with Minnesota. So, I love the move. Look, I'm a little bit – they gave up they gave up more than people I think realize. I mean, they gave up Eduardo Tate and Mick Abel. So, those guys are definitely top prospects. So, I mean, they gave up some guys to get them, and they take on that. I think he's getting, $4 million this year? I think his contract went up to $4 million.
And the good thing for him, right, is that he's under contract for 2.5 more years. So if you would have went out and got some of those other guards like Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals who ended up going to the Mets, he's a free agent at the end of the year. So everything they gave up, they might not even be able to retain him next year.
Exactly.
So to have him for 2.5 years, I'm with you. And again, Mick Abel, good prospect, not one of the the great ones that we had in our organization, but a good one. He's been fantastic this year when he's had the chance. And you mentioned Tate. That's kind of the big one, kind of under the radar. A catcher, first base. He's got a lot of power, a great catcher. He's 19 years old. So the thing there is he's not obviously going to come up and be your guy next year or the year after, but he has potential, all-star capability down the line. Again, just 19 years old. So that's a big one there under the radar if you didn't really know about him. He's a good prospect there. So, again, you had to give up a little bit of something. Didn't have to give up any of the big ones like Painter, et cetera, that we had down there, Aiden Miller, or Crawford. So that's all good. And so I'm happy with it. But, again, it's the outfield that scares me right now is, Brandon Marsh is okay. You got Bader now out there. But, again, Rojas was sent back down to AAA. Left field and center field has kind of been a revolving door. Again, the outfield in terms of hitting capability, with the rest of the league is still, I would say, a little below average. So they add Bader, but I guess Dombrowski and company, they have faith that those guys can turn it around, can hit the ball in the postseason. I mean, we've seen it. A lot of those guys have been to a World Series, so we'll see what they can do this year. But again, a couple guys' contracts are coming up to a close this year. They made that move finally at the deadline. It's kind of pushing our chips here in the table. And it's maybe the last time we see this team together go for a chance at a World Series. So love to see the odds where they are. I took it before the season, so maybe they'll make me pay off there. But I like where we're at right now, and I think they've got a chance to take home a World Series, and we'll see what happens.
So. Yeah, I think
there you have it. They're playing the Orioles again right now, 1-0 in the second inning. Bryce Harper solo shot in that one to take a
Shout out to Bryce, man. Bat getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, he's getting there, starting to get hot now. And again, as I say that, Orioles have taken a 3-1 lead. Tyler O'Neill hits a home run, followed by Westberg.
Who's pitching for us?
Third. Let's see, who is it tonight? That's a good question before we dive in there. And that's another thing is, Luzardo and company, some of those guys have not been as good. And on cue, I should have known Luzardo.
Of course.
So he's been struggling a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
After a stellar start to the season, I think his first 10 starts were just stellar.
That's
and
a fact.
Now you're even hearing some chatter about moving him to the bullpen, which would be crazy, but the way it's going, and they need some help, maybe they do that with the lefty.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens, something to pay attention to. But the Phillies, again, 63-48, battling for that division with the Mets. Doesn't matter to you whether they win the division or not. I know the last 3 or 4 years before last year, they had not won the division, but had got in as a wild card and then have made the World Series, made the NLCS. Last year, they win the division, lose in the first round. Do you care as long as they get in?
No, I care as long as they get in.
Yeah, I'm with you. As long as they get in. So that's all that matters there.
Yep.
And with the way it's going, we should see them in the playoffs, and then who knows what will happen from there. But we'll be watching second in Vegas. Go Phillies. So now let's jump here to NFL training camp from baseball to football as we are now early in the month of August, Matthew, and that means football is almost back. Again, preseason was actually underway on Thursday. We had our first taste of live football action in the Hall of Fame game with the Lions and the Chargers. Some starters actually playing for the Chargers in that game there. Yeah. So you got a little taste of football to come back. And then as I mentioned earlier in the show Thursday, the Eagles will be back in action as well. Some other teams, they're beginning their preseason as well. So just a few days away, and we've got football across the NFL. So let's talk a little bit about training camp. And I'm sure after we left the show on Monday, some big news came out the following couple days. And One of them was one we talked about, Terry McLaurin. He had been holding out. We had talked about him and Trey Hendrickson, how important it is to get those guys back in the room, back with the team. And Terry McLaurin was holding in. He was at camp, just wasn't practicing, thought he would get that new deal. Well, it turns out he hasn't yet. So he has actually now requested a trade. So Terry McLaurin wants out of Washington.
Yeah.
Before we get to a bigger one that's coming up next, quickly on Scary Terry, how did we get here, right? He has been the poster boy for Washington the last 4 years.
Crazy.
He was there through the bad times, now into the good times. I mean, he was there for maybe one of the worst seasons out of an organization. Just in terms, the field was collapsing. They were under former ownership. It was just a disaster to be a Redskin/Commander.
It really was.
And now you look, the grass is getting greener, the light at the end of the tunnel. You get Jaden Daniels. You make the NFC Championship game for the first time since, I believe, the early 90s or late 80s. I believe 91 with Washington. And now you get here, and they haven't paid Terry McLaurin, who's going to be 31 years old, but obviously their best pass catcher, maybe one of their best players offensively, if not Jaden Daniels. What do you do if you're Washington here in a big year for Jaden Daniels entering that sophomore season? That's a big year for a quarterback. We saw what happened to C.J. Stroud without Nico Collins last year. Took a step back. A lot of excitement and, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but expectations in Washington coming up this year, Matthew. So how big is this that Terry McLaurin has requested a trade? And do you think he'll be dealt, or do you think this is just him trying to get his money?
I mean, it's one of those situations where I understand both sides of the conversation. I understand the management and the ownership's view, but I also, at the same time, I understand Terry's view. I mean, this is a guy, to your point, he has basically had to make $1 out of 15 cents with the talent that they've had there. He's made a name for himself in the league as being a really good possession, physical wide receiver. I think he's a little bit probably, what's the word? He's been kind of one of those guys that they've kind of, I think, kind of slighted a little bit. Now that the talent's coming in, now that the buzz is in, now you don't want to take care of the guy that's been the most loyal guy putting in all the work. Yeah. So I get both sides of the conversation, but I do think as an organization, I do think they have to do the right thing by Terry and figure out how to make him happy. I think that's number one. And B, if they can't make him happy, I think they have to get the best deal for themselves and for Terry. Because if you can't mend the fences, then you have to meet him halfway, where maybe you get, tell me the 5 teams you want to get traded to, and I'll try to make it work. I think they do owe him something. So if you can't mend the relationship, then I think you got to take where he wants to go and see, can we make it work? Because I think that's the only way you really should handle this. Because Washington, even though they're getting the talent, even though they've, you see what's been going on, they're also on the clock. Because a lot of those players are looking and saying, did they do the right thing by Terry? If they do the right thing by Terry, maybe I'll stay. If they don't, well, maybe I'm not staying. So they got to do the right thing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. They have to do the right thing, and they have to do what is good for Terry and good for themselves. I would love to see Terry and them mend the fence and bring everything back together. But if they can, again, they owe it to him to try to make a deal.
Yeah, I'm just going to start with what you said. Your point from earlier was that you understand both sides, and I do as well. And it's an interesting situation because obviously Washington under whole new ownership with Josh Harris and stuff. And this is their first big contractor, trying to get a deal done with their first big-time player as a new ownership group. And again, Terry McLaurin has been there through the good, as I said. He's been there through the bad. 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns last year, and a huge year for the rookie Jaden Daniels. And at a time like this, I get the age at 31, but this is when you need him the most, right? You said on the clock, and that's absolutely right. That's an underrated point I think that hasn't been brought up enough, is that when you get these star quarterbacks and you see a rookie season like the best we may have ever seen out of Jaden Daniels, you're, as you mentioned, as a team are on the clock to maximize that rookie contract, right? You've got 4 years before you have to make Jaden Daniels one of the highest paid players, if not the highest paid player in the NFL. So that gives you now 3 more years for the rest of that contract. Terry McLaurin going to be 31 years old. We get it. We talked about that. He wants $30 to $33 million. Justin Jefferson is maybe the best receiver in the league. He's getting $35 million. So do you think a 31-year-old Terry McLaurin should be right in that range. And I mean, obviously, if you're starting teams, you might not think that way. But for a player that is the captain of the team, he wears the C on his chest. He's one of the first guys in. He has been since he got there. Like I said, he's been through the bad times, with former quarterbacks where he was the only bright spot on that offense. He is just much more than a wide receiver for this team. So I agree with you. I think you have to pay him. Again, the numbers and the guaranteed money are going to be hard to come by. I think you got to give him 30. You got to give him 31 million. And I know obviously the back half of that contract is what everybody's thinking about. You're not going to want to pay a 33, a 34-year-old Terry McLaurin $25 to $30 million. And obviously that's the holdup here. But again, the window is now. Next year, I believe, and again, this is me being, the Eagles fan here on the set and in the room. I'm going to pick the Commanders to win the division. And if that's the case, they can't win the division without Terry McLaurin.
No.
It just can't happen. Again, Debo fans, we both are. Obviously, you had him in San Fran. I got a Debo jersey at home. But he is not, at this point in his career, a number one wide receiver, especially, a guy that's going to run your routes and get open down the field. So if they lose Terry McLaurin, who else do they really have? There is not a lot of pass catchers there.
No.
He means more to that team than most players mean to their teams. I think you got to pay him. You got to get this done here.
Got to.
On the clock, Washington. So, again, I'm with you 100%, Terry McLaurin. But, again, it is a lot of money, but I think this is a unique situation. So, got to get it done.
Yeah, got to. And look, if they don't, then I think that sets back the timetable for Jaden Daniels. I mean, again, these rookie contracts, you got to make them work while you got them. Because as we see, and even the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs have been probably the most successful with getting Mahomes off that rookie contract and kind of making the transition to continue to be dominant in some cases and be in the Super Bowl conversations. But the one thing they've also done that a lot of teams haven't been able to do, other than the Eagles, is draft really well. Yeah. So that's really saved them. So if you're not drafting, and by drafting well, I'm not talking about knocking the first round out. I'm talking about getting guys in the third and fourth, fifth rounds. That's where the value really is capsulated at. So if you can't draft that well, you got to start making the inroads to locking up some of these guys like Terry. I think that they have to do it.
Yep, I'm with you. Both of us agree there. And that takes us to another. We're going to stick in the NFC East. And after a long summer of back and forth, or at least so we thought, it comes out that Micah Parsons and his agent haven't had any direct conversations with Jerry Jones. In fact, Micah Parsons putting something out on Instagram, Twitter, and social media last week saying that he felt as if the Cowboys were trying to take advantage of him in contract negotiations, as they did not speak to the agent. They said Micah Parsons stated that he was called into the office with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, et cetera, and they tried to negotiate it with him there, and he kind of didn't know what was going on. And he said to this point, they have not reached out to his agent at all for a new contract. So with all that's going on, I mean, we said to pay Micah Parsons last year, and this is why you pay guys early. And again, don't want to be a homer, but the Eagles do it. It works out every time. You got to pay your homegrown star talent early. The price will only go up. It is not a hard thing to fathom, and I don't know why we keep having this discussions for certain teams across the board, the Bengals also being one of them, and Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
But here we are once again, Matthew. It seems like the biggest fumble in all of sports seems to be the Cowboys almost every year. It took Dak Prescott till the Sunday of week 1 last year before he signed his new deal. It was hours before kickoff on a new year. And now the best young defensive player in the league, Micah Parsons, I mean, just stellar first 2 years on a Hall of Fame trajectory. You like to use that loosely because that's, you don't like to say that. But Jerry Jones, Steve Jones, they don't pay him. Then they're trying to go behind the scenes and do these little fishy things here. The Cowboys continue to mess this up in every way, shape, or form for years, no matter who it is. So Micah Parsons has announced he demands a trade. Is this all fluff? Jerry Jones came out and said, hey, nothing, don't freak out, fan. This is nothing to worry. He's trying to reassure everybody that everything's going to be fine. Is everything going to be fine in Dallas?
I don't think anything's been fine in Dallas for about a couple of years now.
Like 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, once again, like somebody, and I don't know if it's Stephen Jones, his son, I don't know who it is. Somebody has got to take the wheel from Jerry Jones and say, like, it's time, and I hate to use this word because Cam Newton just used it against Gilly the Kid, but it's time to be a mascot. It's time. Like, You've done great for this organization. You are one of the best owners in sports history. You've done it, but
businessman, right?
Yeah, top businessman. Absolutely. But I think when we talk about today's players, I think that's where Jones, kind of messes up. Like, I see him and Dez Bryant now having this little war of words online, and Dez was a little bit of contentious negotiations as well. It just seems like to me every time the Cowboys have a player, and since 2000s, they have not been able to have a relaxing extension. They have not been able to say, like, this is who we got to sign. I mean, case in point, Brock Purdy has been a guy that took us a long time to kind of nail down. We didn't wait till week 1 to nail it down. Like
yeah, the Dak, I was insane in all in itself. That was months and months and months, and we had the same conversation.
Right. Like what else are you going to do? You know this is your starting quarterback. You can either do one or two things. You either not pay him and just not have him for the season, or you can pay him. Like, that was the only options you had. So that's the problem with Jerry. I think today's players are a little bit different than what Jerry has been used to in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not saying he's I hate to use the word, I'm not saying he's past due, but I am saying I think he needs somebody that's with him that says, like, look, this is what they're going to do if you don't do what you need to do.
And I don't think his son, I mean, you mentioned Steven.
Yeah.
I think they both. I think they need to both get some outside help.
Facts.
I mean, again, it's so unique. And again, they just think that nothing they do is wrong in any way. And just it's so obviously wrong that everybody in the sports world is talking about it. And obviously has the same opinion on it, and they still, I think, just have no idea. It's like they're just
tunnel vision.
It is. It's like they have no. It's crazy to think about. And again, it's only going to get. It's good for the Eagles. I'll say this.
It's good
great.
for the Niners.
And we said this. I mean, we talked about Jerry Jones. Please, Jerry Jones, stay with the Dallas Cowboys because that's what it has come to.
Boys.
I know. Like, it is. It's fantastic. I just love. I mean, if you look around now, just to talk as the NFC East as a whole now, you've got McLaurin wanting a trade in Washington, Parsons wanting a trade in Dallas. The Giants have the toughest schedule in the league and really have no expectations. Eagles fans are we're relaxing right now. Everything's looking good. Nobody has repeated the division winners in over 20 years. I think 2003 was the last time a member of the NFC East won back-to-back division titles, and that's why I will take the Commanders this year. I said it at the end of last year because that's just how this division works. I don't know what's going to happen or how it shakes up. I will take the Eagles finishing better in the playoffs when we get there, but I think the Commanders somehow win the division. They can't do it without Terry McLaurin, and the Cowboys certainly can't do it without Micah Parsons.
No.
Again, both of these are huge deals. These are both captains of their respective teams.
Huge.
But like to answer the question I asked you earlier is both of these guys, I think, stay home. I think McLaurin gets the deal done. I think Parsons gets the deal done. And I think
Parsons is a little different for me, though. I don't get.
They can't trade him. There's no matter. I mean, he can sit out and do whatever he wants. There's no way Jerry Jones trades him, no matter what. I think.
I don't think there's no way that Jerry trades him, but I think he's sadly mistaken if he thinks Parsons has some type of loyalty to them.
Oh, I agree with you there. I think he's gonna end up giving him all the money. That's what I think. And he should have already done it.
But that's what I'm saying. Why are we fighting for something that you know you should do?
Exactly. But we do this every year.
Yeah,
it's doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Right? It's insanity.
It's insanity.
And that Jerry Jones is insane. And Steven Jones might be just as equally insane.
Shout out to you. We love you. Keep being
so
crazy.
Again, I think after it's all said and done, I think Micah Parsons will be the highest paid defensive player in the league. I think Terry McLaurin will be up there amongst the highest paid wide receivers. But again, there are little things. I think the McLaurin deal to me is harder from an organizational standpoint with that age and him wanting that money and everything that he's done for the organization. It's just a unique situation. Micah Parsons, there's nothing to talk about. Deal should have been done. What are we doing? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no negatives to Micah Parsons. I mean, it's absolutely insane we're having this conversation. Should have been signed last year. And you mentioned Dak Prescott, right? He became the highest paid player in NFL history before week 1. That's because Jordan Love and those guys got those deals done earlier in the summer. If he would have gotten the done deal with Dak earlier in the summer, Jordan Love would have got the higher deal after. You want to sign him first.
He would have got the discounted deal.
That's right. We talk about him as a businessman, but there's just, I don't know.
Some business you don't get.
There is. So let's talk about the NFC East there again. Eagles looking good. How do you see that division shaking up, especially now with all these things that we have going on at training camp in that division?
I honestly think the Eagles are the team to beat. I really do. I think they're the team that's probably going to repeat as champions.
So picking them to win the division.
I pick them to win the division. I think I'm going to pick them to win the whole thing.
There we go.
I mean, as long as Saquon Barkley is healthy. And that's the question.
It is. And we're going to talk about him in a few minutes.
If he stays healthy, there's no reason why they shouldn't have a repeat of what they've done. But that's the key. If Saquon goes down, I think the Eagles on the offensive side, I think they'll have a little bit of a change. Because again, I know people believe Hurts has this ability, and I'm not saying he doesn't. He has shown that he can do it for a game Doing it for a consecutive amount of weeks, I'm not sold on that. Game or two, I'm okay with that. Consecutive weeks, when the defense starts to say, "Oh, y'all not running," cool. That's when it changes with Hurts.
That's understandable.
That's when it changes. So that's what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, you guys know me. I ain't got no faith in Nick Sirianni, but Nick Sirianni has faith in that talent that they have, and they do have an abundance of talent. So yeah, I'm with the Eagles all the way, despite the fact that there's parts of their franchise that I just
Defense scare you at all? I mean, we had this conversation last year, but the two rookies that I know you were high on and I was very high on, especially coming out of the draft. So that worked out for them. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson comes back, one of my favorite players. He was fantastic. But now you look at the defense this year, and there's a lot of differences. As it stands right now, we've seen Cooper DeJean in the base package be playing on some safety.
Right.
Obviously, some different. Jacoby Dean not back from injury. You lose a few. I mean, multiple guys on the up front defensively in Sweat and Milton Williams. I mean, those were two game wreckers in the Super Bowl. You need guys like Jalix Hunt, et cetera, to step up interior there on the defensive line and on the edge. Nolan Smith to take another step. But does the defense scare you at all, losing a lot of those guys? No Darius Slay, no Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, no Isaiah Rodgers. A lot of the corners, that secondary is depleted now. They got some new faces. Does the defense scare you at all?
No.
Is it the Vic Fangio effect? Because I think so highly of Vic Fangio that I can see things still being good. But when you look at it on paper, I'm a little bit nervous, and maybe the offense isn't going to be able to run the ball like they did last year because they might not have those big leads where the defense was just shutting out other teams. How do you feel about the defense?
I think there's going to be some period of growth. I mean, I think that's the bigger part, and that's why when Cooper DeJean got voted as high as he was in the top 100, I was kind of like, wait a minute. Like, because of what you just said.
Yeah.
We don't know, like we know Cooper DeJean does really well in nickel packages. He's one of the better ones at it. Everybody, in case you're wondering, I wanted so desperately for San Francisco to draft him. I can't even tell you. It was where we were drafting. I wanted either him or Kool-Aid McKinstry, who we didn't get either. But
you're gonna love your guy this year.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we take Ricky Pearsall, who's okay. And at the end of the day, that's the part about Cooper DeJean that we don't know yet. We don't know if you can go out there and be a consistently good cornerback yet. We don't know that. We've seen you in packages. We've seen you in safety. Yeah, you got that. Like, no questions. You got it. But I don't know about him being in those packages that they're going to need him for. I'll say this. I think Slay was a little bit overhyped for his Eagles career. I think he was good, bordering on great at times, but I don't see the subtraction of him as being as devastating as I think some people do. I think some people look at him and they say, oh my God, we lost Slay, big play Slay. Like, I got news for you. I don't think big play Slay has been big play for about a couple years now. So maybe I'm in the minority there. I know what Slay believes in himself. I mean, look, he's a cornerback, so all cornerbacks think they're the greatest thing that's ever played the position. But no, Darius Slay, look, anytime you lose a guy that's that accomplished, that's played that cornerback position at that long and at that high of a level, of course it's going to have an impact. But do I see it being the impact that I think others do? No, because I'm a firm believer in Fangio, and I'm a firm believer in the rookies and the guys that you guys have been able to cultivate there with that culture. So that's where I believe, and that's why I think you guys are going to have I don't think the slowdown is going to be as dramatic as some people have suggested.
Hey, I'm with you. Again, it scares me a little bit, but I do think with Vic Fangio, that leadership defensively, I think they will be fine heading into next year, and that's why we'll pick them to win the Super Bowl. As Matt just said, a lot of time before we make our official predictions here in a few weeks, but I am with you there. And again, coming out, Cooper DeJean is my 17 overall prospect. So again, yeah, you're up there. If the Niners would have had him, he would have been good for you guys defensively.
Yeah, instead we got Ricky Pearsall.
Hey, it could have been worse. Trust me, you're going to love Ricky Pearsall this year.
Yeah, okay.
He's going to be one of my fantasy wide receiver sleepers coming out. You can check that out in a few weeks.
Why?
We'll see. I'll tell you why when we get there.
Goodness.
But let's now jump in and stick with our fantasy football series as we now will dive in to our top 25 running backs and tiers. So last week you saw our top 25 receivers for Matthew and I, and now you will see our running backs. I have my top 25 split into 4 tiers. Matthew, how many tiers do you have in your top 25?
5.
5 tiers. There we go. So let's hop right in. And again, I'm not sure how Dennis is going to do this for everybody at home. So he's going to put up either my or Matthew's rankings or both. And then we're going to dive in and talk about it most likely by tier. So let's dive into our 2025 fantasy football running back rankings and tiers. And again, I kind of did this for PPR scoring is how I have mine kind of regulars and ready to go. So let's dive in and let's talk about our tier ones, Matthew. For my tier one, I've got 3 running backs. How many do you have in your tier one? Here are mine: Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Saquon Barkley. So here we go. And again, you're saying, Nick, Saquon Barkley, you have him all the way at number 3. Love Saquon Barkley. I think he's fantastic, and there is a realistic shot he finishes again as the top running back in fantasy football. But when you look at it overall, in the years and years that we've played this fantasy game, there have been one other player to be number 1 running back or number 1 back-to-back seasons. It's happened once, and that was Priest Holmes with the Kansas City Chiefs way back when. So it just doesn't happen, no matter how good they looked the year before.
Old school.
That player, again, could finish maybe, top 5. That's what you're hoping. But to go number 1 and be that number 1 top running back every year or back-to-back seasons just does not happen. So me just going based off of that in history, I have Saquon here at number 3. The data for running backs with over 300 touches is a little staggering. Those guys rarely, and we've talked about this on the show, they rarely stay healthy and make it, the full season following that big season with that many touches. Saquon, tons of touches, led the NFL in touches. So that seems to throw a lot of people off him. That scares a lot. I've seen him have people ranked as outside the top 5 in running back. So that's not going to be the case here, and I know for sure it's not going to be the case over there with you either, I don't think. But I love Saquon. When you look at the numbers, the reasons why I do think he can finish as a top 3 back, again, we don't see it in back-to-back years, is that offensive line, right? The offensive line, it's stable. A little bit of a new offensive coordinator, but you still got Jalen under center. You've got him in the backfield. The best offensive line in football. When you look at the numbers, he wouldn't get touched till 2 yards down the field.
Correct.
He led the NFL in yards before contact. And when you get him, and again, some of his missed tackle rates were a little down last year, but when you have that offensive line, and that makes up for it when you get him to open space. So I'm high on Saquon. I got him at 3. Just to talk quickly about Jahmyr Gibbs here at 2, Matthew. I think we're going to start seeing more and more of him as that lead back. Obviously, last year, David Montgomery was the starter coming in, scored a lot of touchdowns. For sure. But when Montgomery went down towards the second half of that season, Gibbs was absolutely stellar. He was one of the best running backs, if not the best running back on a per-touch basis. He was putting up 2023 Christian McCaffrey numbers without David Montgomery. That's how good he was. So again, a new bit of an offensive coordinator, no Ben Johnson, so we're going to have to see how that goes with Jahmyr Gibbs, a little bit of a new offense, but the offensive line should be good, not as good as last year. They lost a few pieces there with Ragnow retiring, etc., but they should still have that foundation. They're going to have that run game. That offense is as similar as I think it can be. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs, if he just takes on a little bit more of that lead role, gets a little bit more touches than what we saw last year in the beginning of the season with Montgomery, he could have an argument to be that number 1 running back. And then for me, Matthew, my top running back in the class is Bijan Robinson. Last year, he scored 22.4 points per game in PPR in the last 9 games of the season once he got those that snap share. When he's on the field, he is fantastic. Again, missed tackle rate, elite. He catches the ball out of the backfield. Again, one of the best cutters I've seen with my eyes in years. Give me Bijan Robinson as the top overall back for 2025. Where do you stand on your tier 1?
So my tier 1 has 4 guys. I have Saquon Barkley, 1, Bijan Robinson, 2. To me, that could go 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs 3, and then Derrick Henry at 4. I think those guys, if you're playing fantasy, you get any of those guys,
I'm happy.
You can just be happy. And let me just say this about Bijan Robinson. I am so high on BJ Robinson because he is the first running back I've seen. I'm going to mention a guy's name, Jamal Charles, who gets 14 carries, and it feels like he's got 25 because everything he does on the field, catching, he's a very efficient runner. So I'm really big on Bijan. The reason why I didn't drop Saquon out of number 1 is just I think Saquon's going to have a little bit more opportunities to catch the ball. Yeah. I don't think the Philly is going to use him as many run packages. I think they're going to try to save him in the first half of the season. I do think once they figure how much they can trust his body, I think he's going to start getting more and more carries as the season progresses. And game could definitely dictate that as well. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he's, I agree with you. I think he eventually will phase Montgomery completely out in terms of getting the primary bulk of the duty of carries. I mean, he's a very special talent. And then Derrick Henry, I just think.
I like that one.
what this guy can just fall forward and get 5 yards. And, with that offense, with the Ravens, the offensive line, I think, is much better this year than it was when he was coming in. So, I'm with Henry at 4. But, I'm really happy. If you got any of those 4 guys, you should be happy and you're good to go with that running back 1.
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, it's going to be interesting this year, just talking about the draft as a whole. I kind of prefer to be on the back end of that first round. I think with the amount of talent that we have in the top 15 to 20 guys, I think if you're able to get 2 of those guys before you get back to the turn, 1 through 3, I think that would be the way to go. And to your point, I'm with you. I have Derrick Henry in my tier 2, but I have no problem at all with him as a tier 1 running back. I mean, the only thing you can say about Derrick Henry is the pass catching, but he doesn't need it.
Right.
Like, he doesn't catch the pass. Well, when he's going to give you 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns on the ground,
right.
When they get to the goal line, he's going to be the guy that give the ball 2 to 3 times every single time they get there. You cannot go wrong with Derrick Henry, and you can talk about staying healthy, but he's a freak. He tends to do that as well.
Yep.
And he'll have him and Lamar in the backfield again for one of the best offenses in football. I'm right with you there. I have Derrick Henry right outside. I'm 5th overall as we get now into my tier 2 running backs, but I have no problem with him in that tier 1 or at number 4. So for me, at number 4, though, and again, maybe this will come back. I have no problem if you have Derrick Henry ahead, but I'm going to go with Devon Achane here at number 4 this year. He led all running backs, number 1 running backs in points per game last year when Tua was on the field. Now, that's a different story, right? When Tua was off it, he was pretty bad. So you have to kind of weigh your options there. Do you think Tua's going to stay healthy, or do you think at least they have a backup now that's more capable than what we saw last year when they had no help come off the bench when they dealt with some of those injuries? Right. So the backup this year is Zach Wilson, so we'll see if that changes. But Devon Achane he'll catch you maybe 8 balls in a game. I mean, the way they use him as a pass catcher out of the backfield, a yard in the slot, they use him. He is a home run hitter waiting to happen. Again, we all know how fast he is in that 40 time coming out of Texas A&M. I think he's going to have a special year this year. Again, was a top running back on a points per game basis. Give me Devon Achane 4, Derrick Henry 5 for me. Jonathan Taylor 6, and then I have here, I'm above consensus on Chase Brown. I got him all the way at number 7, and to round out my tier 2, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, and then I've got Ashton Jeanty at 10 here. So there's my tier 2. It runs from 4 to 10. Chase Brown was talked about in that offense as being a focal point. That coming out from the offensive coordinator last year. We saw what they did with him. We didn't know what to expect coming in. They had Zach Moss. He kind of started the season. Then once he went down, Chase Brown got Christian McCaffrey usage. He was in on 95 or 90% of the snaps. 3 downs. He was a 3-down back. He caught a ton of passes. He was getting the ball at the goal line. He was getting the ball in the run game. I mean, the way they used him was just hard to find for any other player in the league at the running back position. You don't see a lot of teams use that one running back approach more. So if he's able to get that this year, which we weren't sure, but the way they're talking about him at camp, and they didn't sign anybody else, they draft Boyd late in the draft. I think they're going to use him the same way. I don't think they're worried about the injury stuff. They are going to give him the football, and he's going to play 90% of the snaps. So I have him above consensus at 7. Josh Jacobs, phenomenal year last year, Matthew, for the Packers. He's 8th. What my sleeper star from last year, Bucky Irving out of Oregon, the running back for Tampa, was phenomenal in a split backfield with Rashad White. Sure. I see him taking over that backfield this year. He'll be the number 1 guy, getting more touches than White, especially to start the season. New offense, no Liam Cohen, so some small changes there, but I think the talent's going to rise. And then 10, Ashton Jeanty. So I'm a little bit lower than consensus on Ashton Jeanty. I love him as a player, one of the highest missed tackle force rate in college football history. He was phenomenal. But when you look at the stat, you also got to say that, hey, it was at Boise State. So you're playing some different guys that make it a little bit easier. But on paper, when you look at the prospect, he is one of the best we've seen at the position in years. So again, I have him a little bit lower just maybe because the offensive line for the Raiders isn't great. I think Geno is an upgrade at quarterback. I love Bowers, but how's the defense going to be? How's the offense going to be as a whole? So that kind of takes a little bit of the touchdown equity out, in my opinion, of Jeanty. But again, some people are way higher, but I have him here at 10. So an RB1 for me still. He's going to get tons of touches in that Raider offense. Not a lot of people are going to compete with him in terms of touches. So I have him here at 10. That rounds out my tier 2. Matthew, how's your tier 2 looking?
My tier 2 is 4 guys. I got Jeanty, McCaffrey, Achane, and then Josh Jacobs. McCaffrey, look.
That's the one I want to talk about.
That's a home run hit for me. If you get him in a reasonable spot, I think he could return.
What's your reasonable spot here? Like if you're talking end of first round, early second round, or I've seen him in some mocks. I saw him go 6 today. Like where is your sweet spot?
End of second round.
End of second.
First or the beginning of the third round. If you can get him there, I'm all for it. I would even, like, where I have my rankings, I'm saying if everything stays well, same thing with Barkley, and maybe I'm a little different. I know some analysts bake in perceived injuries and a little bit of history of stuff. It's tough to do.
Yeah.
But if everything goes well for McCaffrey, I think he can return RB2 value. If you're talking about, do I want to take him in the second round? First of all, don't take him in the first round at all. I'm pleading. Don't take him in the first round.
It's coming that way right now, Matthew.
It's crazy.
No. It is. I mean, he is going right now. I think the ADP, average draft position of Christian McCaffrey, is 6 to 11. So that is where he is
there's
right now.
There's wideouts I'm taking before him.
Yeah. So again, for me, and it's funny because we're talking about it, and then we're going to finish the rest of your tier 2. He begins my tier 3. So I'm way lower than consensus on McCaffrey. I have that as my 11th running back, but that scares me because, like you said, if he comes back and he's healthy, if you were to just take injuries out of it and he plays 17 games, there's no way in my mind he's not a top 3 or 4 running back. There's not. He is that good, and he still is. But now he's 29, right? Yep. And you said it's a home run hit. If you think, maybe you want to, if you take McCaffrey, you're going to have to take some other sure things, right, the rest of the draft. If you want, I don't want to be that guy that takes that home run swing. I'm more confident with what I can do on my other picks. Yeah. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and take a McCaffrey in the first round.
No, I get that.
But if you get to the middle of the second, and as you said, to the end of the second, I will pull that trigger. I just don't see him lasting that long. Again, I had him last year. I know we talked about my fantasy season last year and what we did, and we talked about it on the show. I had the number 1 pick, and I took Christian McCaffrey last year in my draft. Ruined my season. I did not make the playoffs, and that was it. And that's the issue in the first round of your fantasy drafts. A little tip here is you can't win it in the first round, but you can lose it.
Absolutely.
And that's what you want to remember going in. So you want to take, if your first round pick, just somebody you think is going to be a stable, point provider for your team there in your top 12 picks. So I think we're both saying it's not McCaffrey. But again, if you find that sweet spot on CMC, those 2023 numbers and that usage is just one of the best fantasy seasons we've seen all time.
Easily.
So can he get back there? We'll find out.
And I'll say this too, and let me just put this qualifier there. If you take McCaffrey, you got to take Isaac Guerendo, I think is how you say his name. Mm-hmm. I think you have to take him as a handcuff at some point.
And take him earlier than you think.
Yeah, earlier than you think.
I thought last year heading in, while we're on the site, that I'm going to get Jordan Mason. I waited too long, and somebody snapped him the 11th or 12th round, took him early, and it ended up working out because Jordan Mason was phenomenal for the first 8 weeks of the season.
Easily.
So take him a round or two earlier than you think he's going to be there. 100%.
And I say, and my issue with Devon Chain is that I don't view him as an every down back. I don't view him as he's kind of a third down back to me. He's a little tricky. He's got speed. And I know what I'm talking about when I see him because he reminds me a lot of Raheem Mostert, a guy who has incredible speed coming off those blocks, can make 70 yards in one play. But if you look at Achane, he's not wildly efficient a lot of times. He gets hit. He's not a grinder. He doesn't get those tough yards. He gets the easy yards. If he can beat you to the step, he'll get it.
I agree.
My issue with him too, same thing. If you take him, you got to take Jalen Wright, the handcuff. You got to, because this guy is an injury-prone guy. Shocker, it's the Miami Dolphins, who isn't injury-prone, but he's definitely injury-prone.
I agree with that.
So Josh Jacobs, I think he's a solid stud. If he's your RB1, congrats. You got a guy that I think can definitely be a top 10 back.
Workhorse, too.
A workhorse, yeah. He's going to get – if you're in a league, and I know that's not a lot of leagues, but if you're in a league that has a workhorse bonus where they give I've seen a point like for every 25 attempts
like
or something.
20 carries.
Yeah.
Like a point per carry league also.
Yeah, point per carry. He's a guy, he can rack up a ton with that.
Derrick Henry usage.
Easily. And then my issue with Ashton Genty, the only thing I'll say about Ashton Genty.
And Janice, can we put Matthew's tier 2 back up for everybody at home here just to see where he has those guys in? I think Genty was at, I believe, 5. Yeah. So you got him up there.
Yeah, I got him up there because I think the one thing he does better than I think people give him a lot of credit for is he's a really good pass catcher. I think Geno Smith knows how to work that. And I like to think that there is I think the Raiders got to make this work with him. I think they're going to go out of their way to make it work with him. Now, I will say this, and I want to preface the warning here. You see I have Genty 5. However, if I could do it, you would see there is a warning He is a rookie, and you're taking a shot.
Yeah,
you're taking a shot for sure. This guy could be – because even Christian McCaffrey didn't return crazy value his first year. I think he got like I want to say he got like 700 yards.
Bijan was the same thing.
Bijan.
When you look at the top 3 running back prospects of the last decade, you think Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, and then Ashton Jeanty is right there at number 3. And you talk about offenses. Bijan came into that Arthur Smith offense and ended up splitting carries that first year. So, again, you don't know how it's going to work out. Pete Carroll loves to – on paper it looks good, right? Pete Carroll loves to run the ball. They spent the 6th overall pick on him. And you mentioned the pass catching. I think that's a great point because he's going to catch way more balls in I said Oakland, Las Vegas than he did at Boise State. Last year he was not utilized at all as a pass catcher. If you look at the film 2 years ago at Boise State, he was a phenomenal pass catcher. That's a big part of his game that he didn't get to show off. So that's kind of the thing that people forget about. He will get the ball. You're right. Geno Smith can get him the football out of the backfield, and that's why touches. I think he's going to have 350 touches both on the ground and through the air. So I'm with you there. I have him a little bit lower at 10, but I'm with you on Josh Jacobs as well. Marshawn Lloyd is hurt again. He was their rookie pick last year, supposed to split the time with him. He is now hurt again in training camp. And we saw what they did when they had no other backs behind Jacobs last year. He was a 20 carry a game running back. And the whole offense flowed through Jacobs in the run game, half because of Jordan Love's injury. So we're going to see now that Jordan Love's 100% healthy. Are they going to run the ball as much as last year? I don't think maybe as much because he'll be more healthy, Jordan Love. But again, Josh Jacobs has the capability to be a workhorse. He is still a very good back, late 20s there. I got him at number 8 in my rankings as well. And then let me talk to you about Bucky Irving. How do you feel about Bucky Irving?
I like Bucky.
Yeah, me too.
I have him. He's actually 10th. I have him in my tier 3. Yep. So I'm a big fan of Bucky Irving. When I saw him play last year, I kept saying to myself, well, why is White even getting snaps? I couldn't understand it because I'm like, this guy's clearly the better back. I know, you're not running a football team the way, like fantasy football, the way you do in real life, but I'm just saying that's how big of a fan I was of Bucky Irving. I think he's clearly, I think he's going to go in the top 10 in terms of returning value, and I think he could return value more than some of the guys that I have ranked ahead of him. Jeanty for sure.
Where do you
maybe
have Bucky
McCaffrey,
at? Where do you have Bucky at?
I have Bucky 10th.
10th, yep. So again, I'm just one ahead of you there at 9. So again, I have Chase Brown at 7, and then you have So me and you have Chase Brown and Ashton. I don't know where you have Chase Brown, but just those swap there. So.
I have Chase 14. I'm a little worried about the O-line there, and I'm a little worried that, if they don't have the defense, again.
Which they will not.
You guys got to get this defense
I don't think it's an if. I think they will not.
They're going to be behind in some games at times, and I think they're going to be throwing.
They're going to have to put up 40 points. But I think he's going to be used a lot in the pass game.
I wouldn't doubt that. And my 9th guy, and I'm just going to my 9th guy is Jonathan Taylor. Look, that guy is a guy that I am telling you right now, I would try my hardest to lock down somebody else. I have him 9 because, again, if he's healthy, he's going to return good value. That's the if.
It is. And again, and you're right. And again, when we do our final rankings before the season starts, I may change, but I've got him all the way up at number 6 just because I've had the last – he was the running back 1 the last 3. He won people championships. It was hard to get in the playoffs if you had him because he missed games in, but if you had him during that playoff stretch, he put up 30 points 2 out of the last 3 weeks.
Amazing.
On a points per game basis. He was phenomenal. But to your point, when we look at some of the negatives, just for the sake of discussion, offensive line, mediocre. It's not the Colts offensive line that we knew in the past. Obviously, quarterback play is
nasty work.
That's one way to put it.
Shout out
Daniel
your boy.
Jones. Exactly. Well, that's the thing, right?
Get him out of here.
They say he looks good so far, Anthony Richardson. Good word out of Indy training camp. The question is, Daniel Jones. Either way,
George 2.0.
If Anthony Richardson wins the job, I think he'll be better than what we've seen. If it's Daniel Jones, I know he'll be better than what we've seen a little bit there. You just got to weigh the injury stuff.
Sure.
If it is Anthony Richardson, does he take some of those touchdowns away at the goal line? He will run the ball and he will score if that's the case.
Let me just say this about the quarterback thing. I don't get the allure of Daniel Jones. And look, everybody knows how I feel about quarterbacks. Look, it's not a secret. Look, after these guys do what they do, you know what you got with Daniel Jones. I don't know what we're waiting for.
I think it's like a metaphor. I think they brought it in just to push it. I think they had no intention of starting him. I think it was just, hey, let's see if we can bring the dog out of Anthony Richardson. Let's let him compete, win the job. Like when they first did it, I thought there was a chance. But the way that the battle's going, the stuff they're putting out from training camp, to me it seems almost like a show. I know that, and I could be wrong, but it seems like it was kind of like, hey, let's brought him. I don't think he ever had a chance of starting. Which either way, who cares? I guess because it's not like one's way better than the other yet that we've seen. So it's a scary situation.
I already know what Daniel Jones is, though.
Yeah,
I'm not impressed. I don't want him. I'd rather take the guy that I don't know yet.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So they got it to me.
I just think, again, you're right, though. I think JT, the big thing, he's got to stay healthy. That ankle injury has been what's kind of hurt him the last however many years. Again, he doesn't catch passes, right? That's the other thing.
Correct.
He won't catch passes.
Correct.
But on a per-carry basis, he is one of the best in the league. So we'll see if he can stay healthy. I'm with you there. I think that's the big gift. Can we put tier 3 up here, Dennis? Boom. Here we go. So I have a long tier 3 here, Matthew.
I see.
And it starts with CMC. So I've got him all the way back at 11. So for everybody at home, I'm a little bit less on McCaffrey.
I'm not mad at that.
11th, not 11th overall, my 11th running back. He begins my tier 3. And of course, that could come back to bite me if he stays healthy. There's no doubt. But as we mentioned, I have PTSD because I took him 1 last year. So I'm very upset about that. And that takes me to a guy here at number 12 that people seem to badmouth every year. 12 and 13 here, Matthew, people badmouth every year.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
It's Kyren Williams, who again, on a points per game basis, was phenomenal last year. Running back 8. I believe, on the season. But every year, Sean McVay drafts a new toy, and everybody thinks he's going to get the touches. This year, it's Jarquez Hunter, who I am a fan of. But every year, Kyren Williams scores touchdowns, he gets touches, and he catches the football. So give me Kyren Williams at 12. And then I've got my guy, a.k.a. Alvin Kamara, at number 13. Another guy that every year just dominates, it seems. And I think this year's not going to be any different. You want to know why, Matthew? Because once again, the Saints have no talent. Except for Alvin Kamara. They don't even have a quarterback this year.
No.
Tyler Shuck is their quarterback. So let me tell you something. There's going to be a lot of dump-offs to Alvin Kamara. He may catch 10 passes a game.
I didn't even think about that.
I'm telling you, Alvin Kamara for at least this year or next year, 1 or 2 years left, he is going to be,
Is Tyler Shuck the starter?
He's the starter. Could be.
What happened to Spencer Rattler?
Oh, he's there. He won't be the starter, though. Either way, it doesn't matter.
I heard Tyler Shuck has been terrible.
He has been, from what I've heard out of training.
Put Spencer Rattler in there.
Either way, I don't care if it's Rattler or Shuck. I know Alvin Kamara is going to be the focal point of that offense, and he's going to catch 10 balls at or behind the line of scrimmage. And your PPR games, give me Kamara at 13. I think you take him late. He's going to pay out a huge RB2, but if you get, I'd be happy with him as an RB1 if you can go hero RB and get some big receivers early in the draft right there. So another guy here at 14. I want to talk about a few of these guys. Amari Hampton, I love the rookie who I have at 17. We'll see how Najee Harris's eye is. Again, I was huge on Hampton on my big board coming out of North Carolina. I loved him as a player. We'll see what he does here. Chuba Hubbard, I think, is a little bit disrespected for what he does. If we expect any uptick in the Panthers offense with what we saw out of Bryce Young in the second half of last year, he was good. Tet McMillan, they finally got a receiver potentially. If the offense can even go up a little bit, Chuba Hubbard should improve and what he did last year, and that's saying a lot right there. But James Cook here at number 14, 15 touchdowns last year in an offense in Buffalo that I think is going to continue to score points. He's holding in right now. He is not practicing. He wants the new contract. So we'll talk about him in a second. And Kenneth Walker, he's been a guy that's been rising up lately because of the Clint Kubiak offense. They focus on the run game. He's been talking about a lot about Walker, how that offense is going to be made around him. So we'll see if that moves him up. That moves him up to 15 for me. And then I want to ask you about guys here. Breece Hall, 18. James Conner, 19. And then my guy, R.G. Harvey, who I'll talk about here at 20. What stands out to you here in my tier 2 looking at it? How do you feel about James Cook? I know you made a face there and talking about the hold in. We'll talk about him. And then I want to get your opinions on Breece Hall, who last year was a first-round draft pick. And then this year is now my running back 18. So let's take a look now at Matthew's tier 2 before we dive into the players I asked him about.
So my tier 2 starts with Jonathan Taylor, who we talked about at 9. Then I have Bucky Irving at 10. Kenneth Walker,
there you
11.
Go at 11. I like it.
James Cook, 12, Kyren Williams, 13, Chase Brown, 14, Breece Hall, 15, and then Amari Hampton, 16.
So let's talk about James Cook.
So here's the thing with Cook.
And you have him as an RB1. There you go, top 12.
I do. I think he's got the value. The problem with Cook right now is he's sitting out, and we don't know how long he's going to sit out for. If I've seen it work both ways, where running backs come in and they have a good season, like Le'Veon Bell, and I've seen it where they sit out and
Never
things
get
are not
going,
right
right?
again
Yeah.
and for a while till next season. So I've seen it both ways. Look, I'm hoping something gets done because I think Cook is a talent, and I think Josh Allen needs Cook.
I do. I think so too.
He's got to have him. If he doesn't have him, I think it completely changes them.
They are. I mean, already as an offense, they are so limited, right? I mean, Keon Coleman, I think, is going to take a leap. I like him. I think he's going to have a good year this year. Shakir's out 4 to 5 weeks with a high ankle sprain, and that's huge for them already. If they don't have Cook, and again, I'm a huge Ray Davis fan. If you get Cook, get Ray Davis. I know we talked about the handcuffs. Love Ray Davis. But they need James Cook or that offense. They can't afford to not have him this year. Again, your win now window still in Buffalo.
That's a fact. And then Breece Hall, who I love
talk to me about
the
Breece Hall.
talent of Breece Hall. Breece Hall has top 10 talent to me.
Yeah. Well,
but he just does not have top 10 consistency.
Now, was it last year? Do you chalk it up to Rodgers and the offense?
I chalk everything up to Rodgers.
So, are you throwing it out? If that's the case, I say, what did you have Breece Hall up at again? I think 12. Was it?
I had
14? 15. So
15.
Do you expect a little bit of a better season?
Yeah. I think we'll have a better season with Justin Fields.
Does Aaron Glenn scare you at all? Him saying, I want to play 3 running backs, yada, yada, yada. To me, I like Braylon Allen. I'm not a big Isaiah Davis fan, but to me, Breece Hall is the cream of the crop. I think he should be the guy leading them in touches, et cetera. Why? They aren't coming out. They aren't saying that. Does that scare you at all?
It scares me a little bit because Aaron Glenn was coaching where?
Detroit.
And what was Detroit doing?
David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
So I think when he says that, I think he's serious.
I think he is too. But again, he's a defensive guy, but obviously the head coach, they're going to do what he wants.
And I think he's going to want a thunder and lightning approach.
Too. But again, and him and Braylon Allen, I think, is perfectly fine. I love that 1-2 punch.
Yes.
But can we keep Isaiah? And he's not a bad back, and I don't want to disrespect, but can we keep him out of this? He doesn't need to touch. You got 2 good running backs. You don't need a third guy.
Yeah, I don't think you need a third guy either, but I do think he's serious about there being a split situation.
So is there any chance you think Breece Hall finishes as a RB1 this year? As a top 12 back?
No. I think he falls short of that.
RB2, though, firm.
Firm RB2.
Yeah, okay, I'm with
firm
you.
RB2. Chase Brown, I think, could definitely, if he gets the pass catching, I think he definitely can finish as RB1. But I have him just outside there at 14. Kyron Williams, here's the thing about Kyron Williams.
You have him at 16, Kyron?
I have Kyron at 13.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so we're right around.
So
I'm
my
at 12.
problem
Right
with
there.
Kyron is this. There are games that I've watched where he is the best player on the field. And then there's games that I've watched, he's the worst player on the field.
Gets a little nicked up.
Makes, at times, mental mistakes in games, and that drives McVay crazy. You will see him on the sidelines losing it. Because, and to your point, that's why he keeps drafting other guys, because he's not satisfied with what he's got with Kyron.
And he wants, and again, right now, he wants a new contract, Kyron Williams. They are talking, hasn't been offered yet. I mean, I guess if he were to get that new 3-year deal, I'd be a little bit more, confident that he would get those touches, right?
Yeah,
coming
absolutely.
in next year.
But that's why I'm not confident. And that's why I'm a little wary of him. I probably would I definitely would take a Chase Brown, a Breece Hall, maybe even a Hampton over him. I think, and Hampton's another guy. Like, I think people forget, Hampton during the draft process took a step back in the draft process because there was talk of him in the middle of the bowl season being a top 10 draft pick. Yeah. And I seen him as high in one mock as top 5. Yeah. So the view on him
I would have taken him if I was Cowboys at 12.
For sure. But the view on him has changed. And I think part of that view is that people don't know if he's an every down back or if he's a back that is like an Achane where he can extend plays, that he can do pass catching. I don't know what they don't know what he is yet. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, that's how I was right with some rookies. And again, he is going to one thing we know about where he's at, right? The Chargers, Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman offense. They want to run the football. They want to run. They're going to have, again, a top 5, maybe lead the league in rushing, in terms of on a per snap basis. So he was phenomenal, North Carolina. Again, he was my favorite running back of the class personally, where he was being drafted. Obviously, Genty I had ranked number 1,
right.
But I had Hampton as a close number 2, as other people might have had a bigger distance. And same thing I said 2 years ago when I sat here and I said, I had Brian Thomas Jr. right behind Malik Neighbors.
Right.
And I know, shout out to Jason McCall, looked at me a little funny after that one, and It worked out. So I think we're going to have the same thing here. I think we're going to have Hampton, who's going to perform almost as well as Ashton-Jeanty. And again, he's in a better landing spot
for sure.
as well in terms of the success he could have. And again, we're seeing him climb up in ADP because of the Najee Harris eye injury. That's talk about unknown. We don't know what's going on with Najee Harris.
And here's the thing too about Najee Harris.
He might not even play.
Dude, Najee Harris is not good. I'm saying this respectfully.
Can we give him average? Can we give him average running back? He's got to be an average running back, right?
I don't think he's average. and look, there's the reason why I'm saying this. And let me be respectful when I talk about Najee Harris, because look, the guy is a beast. He's a warrior. He is a guy that will get the ball and do what he has to do. The problem with Najee Harris, and as far as I've seen it throughout his whole career since being in the NFL, he has had a problem with breaking tackles once he gets the handoff. He's like Derrick Henry. He needs that first couple steps to really get the ball going, his engine. If you can stall that engine out at any point.
A little bit of a lack of explosiveness.
Well, the lack of explosiveness is massive. And unlike Henry, once Henry hits that second gear, it's pretty much, you got to get Henry in the first gear.
Najee doesn't have that second
Najee doesn't have the second gear. He goes right to the, that's it. I'm in gear one, and
and that was a big Najee.
It'll take a while.
Najee coming out, but again, you saw some flashes that rookie year in Pittsburgh, but he never got to where you thought he was never the player you thought you were getting in the first round of that draft 3 years ago.
No, and that's why I'm not worried about him. I've seen people say I'm worried about him because Hampton, I think Najee Harris. Look, I will say this. If there's a place where Najee Harris will affect Hampton, it will be when they get to that red zone. I think he can be that red zone punch guy where he can punch it in. That's where he'll take the value from Hampton. But from yard to yard, it's going to be Hampton's, I think, to win.
Yeah, I'm agree with you there, and this is a great discussion that we're able to have because that's there's a lot of things to look about at that Chargers backfield. And again, Najee Harris has to put more clarity on it. 1 year deal, right?
Right.
So they're not worried about him. Yeah. So they're not worried. I mean, they can do whatever they want. They run him into the ground. Don't give him the ball at all. It doesn't matter.
They didn't give him a ton of money.
Yep. Because next year he's a free agent. So again, Hampton will be their guy of the future. The question is, when does he maybe start to take over that lead back role? And again, that was the question going in. But now with this eye injury from the fireworks and the July 4th incident,
that's crazy.
He could be the starter week 1, which
definitely.
That's why we're seeing him skyrocket up these boards. So I'm with you there. And again, I'm a huge Hampton fan, and maybe I'm just not trying to jinx him. I have him at 17, but I'm with you there. And just to talk about now, rounding out my tier 3, I had James Conner and R.J. Harvey. James Conner, I think, finishes an RB1 last year. He was a guy that was hurt the year before that a lot of people weren't high on coming into last year. And then he got 95% of the touches. And when you get that much usage, you're going to finish as a top 12 back. The question is, can he stay healthy another year? And will this be the year that Trey Benson, the second-year man out of Florida State, finally gets some more look? We heard James Conner come out of camp today or last week and say, hey, me and Trey Benson are both RB1s. He's going to get a lot of touches this year. So if that is the case, what are your thoughts on James Conner? I've got him here at 19. Do I have him, I guess, is that too high? Should he be higher in the top 15?
I have him 18, so I think it's about right.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Conner at all. I don't think he's a very talented back. I think he's a guy.
Right?
Yeah, the usage is what makes him work. If you look at his whole career, when he left Pittsburgh, he has not become a very efficient runner. He gets about 3 yards a carry. He's kind of that Melvin Gordon type runner where he looks for contact. Yeah. And for those that play college football 26, it's called contact seeker. That's the archetype, just let you know. That's how he runs. And look, he does what he needs to do. He's a good red zone threat. He's got really decent hands. He catches in space. But yeah, I think Trey Benson's going to start making a push, and I think Trey Benson is going to be breathing down his neck to take some of those carries from him for sure. I still think he gets red zone value, which is why I still have him in the top 20. Again, Conner's the type of guy, he can get you 900 yards and 12 touchdowns, and it's not even no one's going to be shocked.
And again, we'll see what happens with that offense. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. could take a step up this year. A lot's going to depend on the play of Kyler Murray, right? Like that offense may go as Kyler Murray goes. So we'll see how that works out, because last year, very inconsistent for that Cardinals offense. We're going to talk about quarterbacks next week.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, rounding out my tier 3 was at number 20. I had R.J. Harvey. So I want to talk about my sleepers here. And for me, it's the 3 running backs, the rookie running backs. Disregarding Hampton because we already have him higher.
Yeah, sure.
Travion Henderson, R.J. Harvey, and Caleb Johnson. So those are my 3 sleepers. They run for me 20, 22, and 25. So all 3 of them are in my top 25 at running back. I want to talk about R.J. Harvey. Really liked R.J. Harvey coming out of UCF. I mean, he showed the shiftiness. He was able to break tackles. He was a phenomenal pass catcher, not just at the line of scrimmage. He had, in terms of running routes down the field, he was able to do that, caught some long balls. To me, he had the whole game. But what's even bigger is that his fit into this Denver Broncos offense with Sean Payton. He reminds me of a mini Alvin Kamara and what he liked to do with him back in 2017 when he took him out of Tennessee. He can do it all. He's been good. And I mean, obviously everybody's worried now. They signed J.K. Dobbins, which was, again, I think if you're Denver, you need a running back just to help out. So I don't mind that signing.
No.
R.J. Harvey is an older back. He is 24 years old already. So that makes me think, if we're just talking about redraft leagues, that he can make an immediate impact. He's already 24 years old. Breece Hall is younger than R.J. Harvey. And Breece Hall's heading into year number 4. So Broncos running backs have caught 214 passes in the last 2 years. That is more than any other team. He is going to catch a lot of those passes. PPR format, he's going to be the Alvin Kamara of Sean Payton's Saints offense he had back then. I like him as a player, and I like the fit. And when you like both of those things, that's how I have him here at number 20. And I think Travion Henderson for me at 22 is that's how much I believe in the talent. I think he's that good of a player as a running back out of Ohio State. Oh, there you go. So I'm with you there. And then for me, I have Caleb Johnson at 25. I like Jalen Warren. He's going to be your change of pace back. But Caleb Johnson, I think by week 8 or 9 could be that guy getting those carries. He is, I think he could be what they wanted Najee Harris to be a few years ago out of Iowa. He runs hard. I mean, was fantastic for the Hawkeyes. So I have him up at number 25. We'll get to honorable mentions later. But what do you think of that here? Some of those guys, R.J. Harvey, and then into my tier 4, my rookie running backs. How do you feel about this rookie class?
I mean, it's funny we're talking about R.J. Harvey because that Denver offense was the exact where I mocked them to take Hampton. So
I thought they would have as well.
Yeah, I think Harvey's in a prime spot there. I have a little bit different. These are my tier 4 guys. I mean, I have Trevion 22nd. I have Caleb 26. I have R.J. Harvey 24. And then probably the bigger surprise I didn't hear from you is I have Pacheco at 27. I think Pacheco will take a step forward to recover from his injuries that he's had. David Montgomery, I think, is going to fall a little bit. I think same thing with Swift.
I had him right outside the top 20. That's a tough one for me, and that could be a little disrespectful on my part. He's now done it 2 years in a row. I know we're both expecting the Gibbs lead. So I got him a little bit outside, dealt with some injuries, new offensive coordinator, but all he does is score touchdowns. And again, I was a little low on him coming into last year, and he was almost an RB1 last year.
He definitely was. Just so we can wrap this up. The last rookie that I have that I don't know if you have, he's in my tier 5, is Scatterbill. I think he's the guy that nobody is talking about. So tier 5 is Tony Pollard. And Tony Pollard, my God, how the mighty have fallen. I thought you were a guy that was going to come in. Speaking of another Jerry Jones blunder, I thought this guy had it all. Tony Pollard, he didn't. He's fading into oblivion. But Cam Scatterbill, a lot of people are talking about a lot of other running backs. And look, I understand there's Tracy, there's a couple other pieces there that they have. But I'm telling you right now, Cam Scatterbill might be the guy that when they get in that red zone, I don't know how you don't give him to him. I would give it to him. I mean, he's a horse. He's hard to take down. I think he's got way better pass-catching chops than people have given him credit for.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a little bit of some Peyton Hillis in this guy. I'm a big fan of Cam Scatterbill. And then I have Brian Robinson Jr. 30th.
Right outside my top 25 as well. I am with you again. Tyrone Tracy had a good last year for New York. Obviously, they weren't great offensively throughout the entire season. Tyrone Tracy, a converted wide receiver out of Memphis, was obviously not a true running back, but did play well for the Giants there. But I think he could be the change of base back, maybe convert into that third down back. And again, I don't want to jump because Tracy was decent last year, so I hate to just throw him to the side as a third round back. But I agree with you. I think Scatterbill is that good of a runner. I think he could be one of those guys. We talked about Caleb Johnson taking over eventually. I think Scatterbill is going to take over eventually in that Giants offense. Again, runs hard. We talked about Genty. I mentioned this earlier on the show. Led by far the country in missed tackle rates, one of the best we've seen in some years. The only other player to be in that realm is Scadabo, which is crazy. Him and Genti are right there, and that's forced missed tackles.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things that usually translates to the NFL. So when you have that metric and that number, and then that compared with the eye test, like you said, watching him run the football last year for Arizona State in a college football playoff and advance to, I believe, almost the Final Four of the college football playoff, or excuse me, the Elite Eight of the college football. Yeah. I mean, he was fantastic. So I agree with you there. I have him just outside my top 25. And for me, I've got Pacheco at 24, Joe Mixon 23, and then I'm giving DeAndre Swift at 21 in that Ben Johnson offense there as a RB2 as well. So some honorable mentions. We talked about Pollard, Montgomery. I've got Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason in there. I like Jordan Mason a lot this year.
I do too.
I think he could end up being the guy going down. They traded something to get him.
I agree.
Like they showed their hand. They went out. They gave up stuff to get Jordan Mason. Then they signed into that new contract. Follow the money. And then for me, Javonte Williams, and again,
he's been disrespected.
I mean, 3 years ago, I was a big. I mean, before he tore that ACL that rookie year, he was. I mean, he was missed tackles out. He was leading the NFL. He was phenomenal. He has still not gotten back to that after 2 ACL tears. Like he's trying. Last year, he stayed healthy, but he said he wasn't himself. This year, he says he's back. So it's been that long. We've seen running backs. It takes years to come back from those things, especially when you tear it twice, ACL and MCL. So he tore both of them.
It reminds me of who's that running back from Louisiana? The state that went to Washington was Derek Geis. Remember, he kept tearing.
Oh, my God, Geis.
Yeah, he kept
Darius
tearing.
Geis. I like Darius Geis. I mean, it's just hard to work back from sometimes.
It is.
And again, so I think this year could be the year. I think he could be healthy. He caught a lot of balls last year. If he's on the field as the primary running back for a Dallas offense with Pickens, Lamb, and that offensive line, I think they could be a good offense. And if he's there, he could bring back RB2 value all season long. So I do like Javonte Williams. You can get him late as well.
Yeah, definitely cheap. That's a great call. Yeah, I like that.
You have any other sleepers or favorite running backs? Doesn't matter where they're being picked. Who's going to be your guy at running back this year that you want to get in almost every draft you're in?
For me, it's probably who am I thinking of here? Let me take a look at my list.
Can be any tier.
I mean, usually in most mocks, I try to target what I would consider to be a home run guy, a guy that I'm drafting not in the first and second round, but a guy that can give me that value. And so, like, for me, I'm trying to get R.J. Harvey in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, I like that. That's what me too.
I'm trying to pick up a Hampton. Just guys that I think can return big value. I think Kamara is another guy that I'm targeting because I'm trying to, again, you're trying to capitalize on people's mistakes in the mock. Yeah. So, and then of course I'm waiting as late as I can, which it's about 7 or 8 round where I can get a Cam Scadabo.
Okay, yeah.
If I can get a Cam Scadabo in 8th or 9th round, I'm happy. So those are guys that I'm targeting. Just again, not the sexiest guys, and I'm gonna tell people this right now. Let some of the rookies that people are hyped up on, let those guys get picked fast because it's going to happen. So Genti's going to get picked probably
first round.
I've seen him go as high as 5.
Yeah.
Let somebody do that. That's a rich price for a rookie.
I agree. And again, he could be a league winner, but again, your first round, you don't want to. You can lose it, you can't win it.
Yeah, Mario Hampton. If you have people out there that are getting him in round 2, let them. I'd prefer to wait on him in round 3. And then Trevion Henderson, Harvey, you want to start looking at them in round 3. Anybody that takes them higher than that, let them pay the price for that.
Yeah, I mean, guys, for me, just for right now as it stands, I'm going to go with the guy that I had higher than consensus in my tier 2, and that's Devon Achane here at number 4. I just think the pass catching, the way they use him in that offense, he's going to get a ton of touches. And again, hopefully the wide receivers and that Tyreek Hill, while they pick things back up, and the offense as a whole will be a lot better with Tua next year and maybe lead to some more scoring opportunities. But I think he's going to, again, the pass catching alone for Achane. So I would like to get him. Again, if I can get him, I've seen him go early as well. If I can get him at the turn, like if I'm sitting at 12 and I can get him a wide receiver, I would take him late first round. I think would be a steal late first round, early second, depending on where you are. So I've seen him go, as you said, for Genti, 5, 6, 7 in that range. I don't know if I might, but if I'm sitting at 11, 12, and then coming back on the turn, give me Devon Achane, 100%. So that'll do it for our tiers for our top 25 running back rankings. Again, we'll continue next week with quarterbacks and tight ends. We'll go through that a little bit quicker. As now we head to our Dennis's question of the week. We can either do the question or the trivia as we are rounding out our show here on a Monday evening. Again, it's been a fun training camp, and we are full into fantasy football season. So where is Dennis going to take us today? Are we sticking with football, Dennis, or are we going maybe some baseball today? What are we thinking?
What are we thinking here? No.
Will running back win the league?
Nope.
And I'm going to say no, too, and let's talk about it. I say no, and here's why. I think you would agree with me.
Yeah.
Because we saw one of the best running back seasons ever last year.
Ever.
And he wasn't even sniffing it, the MVP.
No.
And we both thought he should win the MVP.
Definitely should win the MVP.
And again, we are way off consensus on that. I mean, he wasn't even a finalist. It was Lamar, Josh Allen, back and forth, whatever. And Matthew and I both agreed that Saquon should have been the MVP. And to Dennis's point here, I don't think we see a season like that again, at least this year. And if so, you're not going to have a better season and have the Eagles put on a better show at that, taking the top seed in the NFC. Like, nothing could have happened better that would have allowed Saquon. Like, nothing could have happened differently that Saquon would have been the MVP. Unless you think if he broke the record.
No, I think you'd have been MVP if that bull crap play, the brotherly shove, wasn't used. I think. I honestly think.
If it got banned, then maybe this was a discussion.
I think Jalen Hurts cost Saquon Barkley, and I'm not saying Hurts, but the way the Eagles run their brotherly shove, I think it cost the MVP for him. Because if you think about it, he had, I think was it 12 touchdowns rushing?
Oh my God! Are you talking about Hurts or Barkley?
Barkley.
No, I know Hurts had.
I think he had 12.
10.
If he got, say, 10 more, he's getting MVP probably. It's be hard to deny him with 10 more touchdowns.
Yeah, he had finished with 13 last year.
Right, 13 last year. If he gets 8 more and he's in that 20 range, it'd be hard pressed to not give him the MVP there.
I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. It cost him the MVP. Now look, he got the trade-off. He got the title. So
exactly, it worked. Thank God, because if they didn't break the record, because you said if he gets even some of those touchdowns and broke the rushing record, he might have been the MVP.
Oh, he would have been consensus. He broke the record and got the rushing touchdowns.
So you heard me say a few moments ago what I thought. How many rushing touchdowns do you think Jalen Hurts had last year?
14, right?
14.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And stop talking about he's with Cam Newton in rushing, bro.
It's a lot of touchdowns.
Stop, bro.
It's a lot of touchdowns for Jalen Hurts.
It's not better than Randall Cunningham in rushing. I dare somebody to challenge me on that.
All right, well, there you have it. Me and Matthew both saying no, will not be running back. In fact, I think we can both firmly say it's going to be a quarterback. Is it ever
it's going to be a quarterback. It's going to be a stinking quarterback.
Is it going to be Patrick Mahomes' rebound year?
I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a real rebound.
Again, we'll talk about quarterbacks next week, but I am in on Mahomes this year.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a problem.
So, Dennis, let's have our trivia question to round out the show here. We're approaching 8:30 Eastern Time here in Wilmington on DETV Sports Monday. After the Antonio Brown fiasco of last week, me and Matthew were here to redeem ourselves.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Dennis is waiting all show for this one. Throw it up there. Which NFL running back holds the record for most rushing yards in a single postseason?
In a single postseason.
20 seconds. There, we got a time limit now. We're coming down here. All right, well, let's think of some teams that went on these magical Super Bowl runs, right? We'll never get this one.
I don't like how you said that.
All right. Well, let's have Dennis give us a minute. I'm going to look up, just so for the sake of clarity, the Super Bowl champions. Just a list of Super Bowl champions here.
The Super Bowl champions.
Yep. Okay. Just to see, obviously, and again, Saquon had a great one last year, but nothing in the Super Bowl, right?
Can I get one lifeline? Just one. Okay, how far back is this going?
I can't give you that answer.
Are we in the 2000s? He doesn't want to give it to us.
He doesn't want to give it to us.
All right,
all right.
30 seconds on the clock right now. Boom, start it, Dennis.
So, wait a minute. Let's go through the Super Bowl winners real quick.
All right, so you have the Eagles, the Chiefs, Rams over the Bengals that year, Tampa Bay over Kansas City with Brady, Kansas City over San Fran the year before that. New England over the Rams 13-3. No, that's what I'm saying. Eagles before that, no. Patriots, Falcons the year before that, no. Denver, Carolina.
You got to go in the 90s. You got to go. That's when they were running.
How do you feel about Marshawn Lynch in Seattle? Like,
Nah, man, it's going to be an old school dude. That's why he said we ain't going to get it. It's going to be an old school guy.
Because one came to me just a second ago.
It's going to be an old school guy. Start from 80. It's going to be an old school guy, I'm telling you. Who won the title in 80?
Steelers.
Keep going.
Raiders.
Keep going.
Niners. Redskins. Raiders, Niners, Bears.
Give me Riggins. Give me John Riggins. Give me John Riggins, because he said we never going to get it. It ain't going to be Franco, because Franco wasn't running like that. It's not going to be Emmitt Smith, because I would remember
Dickerson,
that.
Right? Like Eric Dickerson with the Rams.
Now, I'm telling you, it's going to be Riggins. Riggins was that bull. He was that bull. Give me...
Marshall Faulk with the Rams.
Nah, I mean Marshall. Marshall would have caught the ball more than it. It's not Eddie George. I'm gonna go with Riggins. You going old school? I'm gonna go Riggins. It's not Sean Alexander. It's not Jamal Lewis.
Damn, I like the Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis is a good one, but I'm going with Riggs. It's not Emmett. I'm going with Riggins. That's my. Oh, it could be Peyton though. Walter Payton.
And you said you didn't think it was Emmett either. Emmett's a good answer.
Emmett is a good answer.
See, the two that are sticking to me are Emmett and Dickerson. We're way over our time limit.
All right, I'm going with Riggins. That's my final answer. What's yours?
I'm gonna go with Eric Dickerson. We didn't get it.
There it is! Riggs! There we go! There we go! I told you!
Matthew's got it, baby. Matthew's got it. One day we're going to get a question in the 2000s, and I'm going to get it. But Matthew's crushing it right now.
An old school guy, man.
That was a good one. Very well done.
I was happy because I was doubting
Dennis,
myself.
that'll take us out on a Monday. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next week. Fantasy football continues. Eagles in preseason action on Thursday. Make sure you check that out. And we are leaving today with a victory over Dennis. Thank you, Matthew. I'm in the backpack right now. I'm in the backpack, so we'll take it. Thanks to everyone, Dennis especially. We will see you next week. Matthew, closing remarks.
Go Phils.
There we go. A quick one today. We'll see you next Monday.